and welcome to another crochet tutorial from me. My name is Caitlin and today we will be making a mini octopus together. This pattern is an original pattern of mine, so please credit me if you happen to make this and post it on social media. Let's get started. So first of all, here are the supplies that you'll need. I used a 3.5mm crochet hook, some scissors, a yarn needle that's just to weave in the ends and attach the legs and also do the face, and then some 8-ply cotton yarn. I feel like this is the easiest to go with when you're first starting out. And we have some stuffing. I also like to add in my scrap yarn as some supplementary stuffing to be sustainable, so you can do that too. First off, I also have this wool genie, which is really helpful to hold my yarn while I crochet. It means I don't lose it down the side of the couch. And yeah, it's really helpful to just unwind it nice and smoothly. That magnet's on, which is pretty cool. Then I'm going to take my hook in my right hand and the working yarn in my left, and we're going to do a magic ring to start off. If you're not sure on how to do a magic ring, I'm going to do it twice, once a bit quicker and then twice a bit slower. But if you're still not sure, there are plenty of pictures and diagrams and all that sort of thing, sort of tutorials online. Just Google how to make a magic ring crochet and there will be heaps of things to help you to make that. So we're going to take it in our left hand, wrap it around 2 or 3 fingers, make sure it goes behind the other one when you turn your hand over. You're going to take your crochet hook, go under the first one, over the next one, and pull it under. Then you need to wrap around your working yarn and pull it through to make a little knot. And you should be able to move your little bit of yarn to tighten the circle. Then we're going to chain 1. This will help us to just keep track of the single crochets. And we're going to do 6 single crochets into the magic ring before pulling it closed. Alright, and now we have 6. We need to pull on that shorter piece of yarn to close the magic ring. Should make it all tight and into like a circle shape. And that is the end of round 1. Round 2, we are going to increase a round. So this means to do 2 single crochets into each single crochet around. So you'll end up from 6 single crochets to 12 single crochets. You can use a stitch marker if it helps you to keep track of the rounds, but I generally just count how many stitches I have at the end, which in my written pattern there are the number of stitches at the end of each round, so you should have 12 at the end of this round. So just work your way around, 2 single crochets into each single crochet from the previous round, and that's all. Just double check that you have 12 single crochets at the end, and then we can move on to round 3. So for round 3, we are going to do 1 single crochet and then increase around. So we need to do 1 single crochet in the first single crochet stitch from the previous, and in the second one we are going to do 2 single crochets into the same stitch, which makes an increase in crochet. You might see the abbreviation INC, that is for increase if you are reading a pattern. So we're going to work all the way around, 1 single crochet and then a double into that one. So 1, and then to the next one we're doing 2 single crochets. This will increase it gradually around to make a circular shape. If you were to just increase again all the way around, it would make it a weird shape, I think. So this is easier. By the end of this round, round 3, you should have 18 single crochets around. So here I think I've made too many, so I just take them off and then recount again. So once you have 18, you can move on to round 4, where we are doing 2 single crochets and then an increase. Sorry, it's a bit blurry, I wasn't watching what I was doing clearly. So we're going to go 1 single crochet, and then the second single crochet along, we're doing another single crochet in that, and then once you get to the third one, we are doing 2 single crochets into that stitch, just as the previous round, but adding another single crochet at the beginning. So by the end of this round, you should have 24 single crochets, and then round 5 we will do 3 single crochets and then an increase. So the same as the one before, except we've added 3 single crochets at the beginning and then an increase after that around, and continue this around, and you will end up with 30 single crochets around by the end of this round. I'm really sorry also for the fact that my fingers are right close to the bottom of the screen. I obviously wasn't watching in the camera where I was, what angle I was at. But anyway, I hope you can still understand this tutorial. You should have 30 single crochets around by the end of round 5. Now we're going to start round 6, and round 6 we're going to do 4 single crochets and then an increase. So we're still doing the increase around to make this flat part of the top of the body of the octopus. So you're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, and then in the next stitch you are going to do 2 single crochets to increase. And by the end of round 6 you should have 36 single crochets around. So towards the end of this round you should have, this is round 6, and you should have 36 single crochets at the end. For round 7 to 12 we're actually just going to single crochet around into each stitch. So round 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12 are just going to be plain single crochets in each stitch around. I'm using my center yarn to just be my stitch marker, but you can also use a clip-on stitch marker, a bobby pin, a safety pin, whatever you can find, or just another scrap piece of yarn. I just do this because it's already connected anyway, so I might as well just use it. And I just keep that on that round and then count up. So this would be round 7 that I'm working on right now, and then I just count up until it reaches round 12, because you are consistently doing the single crochet around, it's actually going to make a shape. It's not going to be flat anymore, it's going to start working the body as a cylindrical shape. So just continue single crocheting around. I believe in this video it jumps straight to the end of 12 to begin round 13. So take your time as you do this. Feel free to pause in between this little clip and the next as you complete those rounds, or take it slow, up to you depending on your speed of crochet. But yeah, just a pre-warning, the next clip it is going to be back up all the way up to 12. So pause here if you need to catch up to do those 12 before continuing, because you might get confused. Okay, so now you should have up to round 12. We will be starting with our decreases to close the body up. So we're going to start with 4 single crochets, one after the other, and then we're actually going to do a decrease. So if you watch me, this is how I do a decrease. It's called an invisible decrease. I just go through the front loops and the next 2, and then like a single crochet. So 1, 2, 3, 4, just the front 2 loops of the next stitches and combine them to 1 single crochet. So it's decreasing the round. So just 1, 2, pull it under, over, just like a normal single crochet. It's called an invisible decrease because it only uses the front loops, which makes it look like a normal single crochet, but it's actually a decrease. Handy hint. If you want to see more detailed diagrams about invisible decreases, feel free to Google to see images that might help you a bit better. So by the end of this decrease round, you should be back down to 30 stitches around. So it's going to be 4 single crochets, and then it's also called single crochet 2 together, or SC2 tog on a written pattern. So this is what it should be looking like so far. We're going to continue decreasing for the next round. So we're going to do 3 single crochets and then a decrease, or a single crochet 2 together. So 3 single crochets, and then same thing, just the front 2 loops and a normal single crochet to join, and continue that all the way around. And by the end of this decrease round, you should be back to 24 stitches. In the next round, we're going to do 2 single crochets and then a decrease, and that is going to equal 18 single crochets around. So 1 single crochet, then 2 single crochet, and then 2 together. So the front loop only, round 2, and it's just single crochet. Yep, so into 2 front single crochet loops, and then wrap it around, lock it into a single crochet. And that is how you decrease. So you should now be on 18 single crochets around at the end of this decrease round. And that's what it should look like by the end of that round. The next round we are going to do single crochet all the way around, but it's only going to be in the back loop. So you need to put your hook through the back loop of the next stitch and just work it as a single crochet like you normally would, but we're just going to work in that back loop all the way around. So just leave the front loop and work through the back loop. This is going to create a line around that will help us to see where we should place our tentacles once we have made them later. But this will just help us in the long run to be able to see where they need to go, to make sure that it is evenly spread around the circle of the bottom of the octopus. Now there should be a definite line around from the back loop only round that you just completed, but you should still be on 18 single crochets around. The next round we're going to continue to decrease, but we're going to do 1 single crochet and then a decrease around. So 1 single crochet and then invisible decrease through the front 2 loops into a single crochet, and we're going to work that around until we have 12 single crochets all together around. You can get your filling ready as well, because at the end of this round we will stuff the octopus pretty much to the brim. I want it to be nice and firm, so it's able to stand up and not be too squishy. So now I'm going to get my stuffing. So as I said before, I'm going to combine some of my polyester fiber fill with some of my scrap yarn from previous projects. This is an idea I got off Instagram. So whoever made that video, thanks, because it's actually really smart and I feel really good using up my scraps for this purpose. If you don't have any scraps, that's okay too. You can just use your polyester filling. You can usually buy this at your local craft store, at Spotlight or Lincraft or something like that. So yes, if you want to make more amigurumi, you will need more stuffing. Okay, so I think I am almost finished stuffing here. Yep, looks pretty good. Give it a bit of a feel of what it feels like. It's even all the way around too. That's important. And I'm going to remove those scraps now and close her up. So I grab my crochet hook, stick it back into the stitch I was just working through, and we're going to work just decreases around. So instead of any single crochets, it's just going to be that decrease all the way around, so we end up back with 6 single crochets around, just like what we started with. So I'm just going to work that all the way around. It can get a little tricky at this stage because it's almost closed up, but it'll be good when you finish it. It will look good. And once you have done that final decrease, just counting to make sure that there's 6. And then what you need to do is, oh, I know I need to do one more. I haven't done 6, I've obviously got 7, so I've just done one more decrease. Yep, and then you need to just cut, leaving some space, but cut the yarn so you have space to weave it around and in. And we're going to pull that all the way through that stitch. And next we're going to weave that end of working yarn around those 6 stitches. See how I'm just going under and pulling it through, under the next one, pull it through, and continue that around till all 6 stitches have been woven through. And then you're just going to pull it tight, and that will just close up that little gap that you have at the end. Yep. And then you're just going to weave that piece of working yarn through to finish off. Just weave it through as much as you want. Usually I'll just do it once or twice and then cut it off so then it's still secure. And I'm also going to trim my yarn from before that I used as a stitch marker, but obviously if you didn't do that, just pull it out, or whatever you decided to use. You can remove it now because we have finished the octopus's body. And that is your octopus's body done. Now we can move on to the 8 tentacles. So this is what the tentacle is going to look like. I just thought I'd make one first so that I knew what it was going to look like. And we need to make 8 of these, obviously, because it's an octopus. So we're going to start off with a magic ring again. You guys should all be professionals at this now. Weave it under, pull it through, and tie it up. Then we're going to single crochet again. So I'm going to chain 1 and single crochet 6 into the magic ring. And again, once you finish those 6 single crochets, pull that yarn in so you create your magic ring or your round 1. Now for the tentacles, we're just going to single crochet around again, doing 6 single crochets around, so 1 in each. And this is going to go on from rounds 2 to 6. So we're just going to go, it's a bit tricky at the start because it's nice and tight, but we should have 1 single crochet in each single crochet from the previous round. And we're just going to do this from rounds 2 to round 6, the same thing. You can use a stitch marker for this. I just counted as I went along for each round, but whatever works better for you. You can also use the little bit of dangling yarn there that I've got to help you and help guide you. Once I made one there, I sort of just made sure that they were the same size because I wasn't bothered to count. But yes, do what you need to do to make these equal. And when you have completed rounds 2 to 6, we are going to do sort of similar to the body, but to finish off we will be, wait for it, so sorry that you can't see most of this. I don't know why I wasn't organising the camera better. Anyways, I'm just counting that I have enough rows. I'm just going to flatten it out. We're not going to be stuffing the tentacles, and I am doing a slip stitch, so we just go under, pull it through, no additional round. We're going to grab our scissors, just going to snip that middle yarn off because we don't need it. It was a bit long anyway. And then we're going to leave some space for joining onto the octopus's body and snip that. Then we'll pull through the yarn and just leave it like that because we're going to need that extra yarn to sew onto the body. So there you go, just repeat those steps times 8. You might need a rewind. There's our 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then our body. So next we need to obviously join the tentacles onto the body. So if you see that round that you worked only in the back loop, that'll help guide you as to where to place each tentacle. We're going to use our yarn needle. So this is just like a thicker, wider version of a sewing needle. I have a plastic one because it's just what I have. So we put that through the end through, just like you would when sewing. I'm going to actually start off by sewing this closed. So I'm just going to do a little zigzag around to sew it closed, just in case I miss a stitch and don't want to leave it open as it's connected to the body. Even though it's got no stuffing, it just would look a bit bad. So I'm just going to sew that closed first before sewing it onto the body. You don't have to do this if you don't want to. I just think it makes it look a bit neater. Then I'm going to take my body. I'm going to find that line of the back loop only round. I'm going to start there. Just going to weave it around until I'm happy with how it's connected. So if you just go through, you can go through the whole stitch, or you can just go through the front loop or back loop of each stitch around. And I sort of just go around until either I finish the end of that yarn or I'm happy with how it's attached, that it's strong enough to stay by itself and not be ripped off or anything like that. I'd like it to be more firm so that it can sit properly and not fall apart. And that is that one sewn on. And then I'm just going to leave that end just because I wasn't sure that all of them would fit around initially when I first made it, but you can just weave that end in and chop it off, or you can leave it if you also might want to undo it to adjust where the different tentacles are placed, or if you don't do them close enough and you need to shuffle them around a bit before you finish off the project. So now I have sewn on all of my 8 tentacles. I need to go around and snip them off. Snip all the extra bits off because we don't want to keep them there. I'm just going to go around and do that. So I've just snipped off all those ends, going to add them to my scrap yarn pile, and we have the body complete and also the 8 tentacles. Mine I had to put a little bit closer together than I thought I would, just to keep that in mind, to fit all 8 on that little bit of the body, and I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. Next we are going to need some black yarn. Sorry I didn't put this at the beginning, I just sort of assumed that everybody would have black yarn. So if you don't, just any 8-ply black yarn will work for this project. And you're going to need your yarn needle again, because we're going to use this to sew on the eyes and the mouth. If you wanted to use safety eyes, I will put a little note on where you can insert those. You'll be back on the body section because you have to insert them before you finish off to clip them into place. So we've got our black yarn here. Just gonna thread on the end. I just did that because it's a bit frayed. And thread it through. And just snip off wherever you think how much yarn you'll need. You can always add more if you need more. But you're only doing the eyes and mouth, or whatever sort of face you want to do on that. It's up to you, but this is what I chose to do. I just chose to do some simple triangle shaped eyes and a little triangle shaped mouth, which you will see here. So I've just taken it through the back so there's a little bit left inside the octopus to keep it together, and we're just going to weave it through the single crochets to whatever size and shape you'd like to make your eyes. This is just an example, so you can do however you like. So I've just done a little triangle shape there. If you need help with embroidering on, you can also look that up. I'm sure somebody has done a tutorial on how to embroider on amigurumi, but this is just how I do it. So yes, so there's one eye pulled through, and I've just left a bit of a space in between, and then I'm going to do the second eye with another triangle shape. It's just a really cute, simple eye that I like to do. Makes them look like they're a little bit asleep, which I think is really adorable. And then we move on to the little mouth. I just wanted to make it the similar shape but a bit smaller to make it a little smile, because I think that is cute. You can also add eyelashes or a nose or whatever you want to add. Just look up amigurumi embroidered face if you want any ideas. Yeah, but I really like this look. I'm not very good at the detailed embroidered eyes yet. I'm still working on that. So yeah. And at the end, when I've completed the face, I will just pull the black yarn back straight to the back of the body again before snipping it off to finish, just so there's that little bit extra left to hold it together. You can also weave it around the same stitch and pull tight, and then you won't see the colour on top of the pink if that's easier for you or makes it more put together. Then you're just going to trim off that black yarn. I like to use my needle to just push it that little last bit in so it's not a little black dot at the back. And there's our little octopus. He's finished. Well done everyone for sticking around. Please like and subscribe. And don't forget, I also put up all my creations on my Instagram at wild.poppydesigns. And from there you can also access my website where I will have this pattern up for purchase as well. Comment down below if you found this tutorial easy to follow, and feel free to tag me in your photos on social media if you happen to make one of these little cuties. And yeah, check out the links below for all the supplies and for the link to the PDF version of this pattern, which will be coming out soon. But keep on my Instagram actively, and then you will know when that will come out and be released. Thanks for watching. Bye!